welcome to this amazing interview, this magical interview that I'm going to have with Shannon Parsons, who is, by her own admission, the secret weapon inside Secret Knock for Women, which is an amazing first event happening in November. Shannon, welcome. It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm Dr. Pauline Crawford-Thompson. I'm renowned to be the magical conversation person, the ambassador of magical conversations. And in searching into why men and women do and don't work well together, I've had the honor to interview over 50 men across the world about how they feel about their world today. And so today, Shannon, this is a very exciting first for me because I want to ask you, as a woman in this world, how do you think men are coping with women coming into their workspace now?
Oh, that's such a big, beautiful question. And I'd have to say it's probably pretty divided. I would say for some guys, it probably is taking them by surprise, and they maybe have lost their footing and not really sure how they fit into this new world. Other guys who tend to be more empathetic and more in touch with their feminine energy, I would say, are probably not as blindsided and even excited about what this new world looks like with this real blend of masculine and feminine energies. So I'd say there's probably a big spectrum.
Well, that's good. And one of the things that I discovered when I was interviewing all of the men, and they ranged across the world and also different generations, was that they all felt confused, and not necessarily about their own life, but about what women really wanted. And one of the common threads was that they said, we don't even know whether we should open the door for a woman. What would you respond to that?
Oh gosh, well, it sounds kind of like a fear-based response. And I would say there's nothing to be afraid of. You know, women are really, we're learning too how to exist in this new world and blend our feminine energy with the masculine energy and who we're supposed to be in order to be successful and taken seriously. And I think if we can open these doors with this idea of love and acceptance, it's just a conversation. And there's nothing to be afraid of there.
Yeah. In your experience, where you've been involved with men, you work now with Greg Reed and Jeff Kubrick, and the new ideas are in Secret Knock, which is Secret Knock for Women. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the fact that they've invited you to do that they must see you as the expert on women?
Oh, the expert on women. I love that. You know, I love working for Greg and Jeff. They are two different men who are really strong and powerful, and they fully support me in being my most powerful self. So to be the representative to bring Secret Knock for Women to the masses is really exciting. It's an honor, and I can't wait. And even both of them have said, you know, Shannon, I think that Secret Knock Women is going to be bigger than Secret Knock. And I feel that way too. I think it's...
Yes. I think that's a very interesting observation because women are now flooding forward into business. I mean, I'm looking not only at the entrepreneur world, but the corporate America world. Mm-hmm. And we know the facts that out of 500 Fortune 500 companies, there's only 33 that are run by women. And yet 75% of most of their workforces are female. In the entrepreneur world, and I suspect those are the participants for your Secret Knock for Women, mm-hmm. Women are the growth section of entrepreneurs in the world. Mm-hmm. But having said that, men are still in the majority because we're coming in from a place of not being here over the last century. But more and more, especially there are, say, wonderful women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, let alone myself, the baby boomers who are still excited and want to be in business. There's like a tsunami of women flooding forward. But what do you think? I mean, you work for two men who are quite different in terms of being, one's very masculine male, one's quite feminine-minded male, and that's a really good combination. So if we look at women, we know that not all women are the same. That's right, isn't it?
That's very true.
And what do you think is the most important thing that women don't do yet, which could make their path a bit smoother in terms of working with men?
Something that women don't do yet. I think that when it comes to women, that we're still thinking about what we want, and it comes from this energy of need, and I need to get my needs met before I can think of the other person, even though we're very giving creatures and we can even overgive. When it comes to our relationships with our men, I think we're still kind of in this mindset of take care of me and then I'll take care of you. And I really feel that if we can switch that a little bit to really find out what our men's needs are, take care of those first, then it creates this ebb and flow where our men naturally want to keep giving to us.
Okay, so that's really interesting. And I know you were sharing with me, Shannon, that you've actually had a very long relationship with your husband, and that between the two of you, you kind of got a strategy on how to understand him. So tell us a little bit about that maybe could be advice to women about how to manage our men.
This could go in a variety of different directions. But I think the biggest thing for me when I see that my husband comes home really stressed, my first reaction is to want to tell him about my day and make it about me. But I've learned that if I can give him time to settle in from his own day and relax, and then find out how I can meet his needs, if it's taking some of his stress away, or it kind of ties into love languages. If I know what his love language is, and he's stressed, I can meet his needs so that he can get into that more calm, more feminine energy. And then when he's in that feminine energy, he's more than willing to meet my needs, whatever they are. So without going into all the fun details.
Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And what I think is really important, and the lesson that I've learned in studying this with my Crawford Gender Dynamics map, is that men are very straightforward. They are much more in a boxed kind of topic-centered, one-on-one, yes, no, can I find a solution? That's their core hard drive.
Yes.
Whereas we women, we've got this wonderful circular hormonal loving, tending, and when we multitask, we're actually doing everything at the same time. So men will do a whole series of jobs, but they're not actually doing them all tangled up. Right. And what I think is wonderful about what you said is that you've understood the basic difference between men and women, that some women don't understand yet, and it does confuse men, because we're in the workplace, which is in a way much more strategic and has some fundamental building blocks. We bring emotion in, and that's good, but we need to understand, like you have understood brilliantly, is that if we please his need in terms of telling him what's going on, that I want to do this, I'm going to do that, please listen for 5 minutes. You know, you could be quite precise with men. Men are very instructional, where sometimes women bowl in and they just go blah. And I always say to my clients, you know, when your man's eyes glaze over or the boss goes like that, please stop, because it won't make a difference and it will always irritate him. And that's why I think women need to be a bit more strategic as well as savvy and a little bit sassy. That's my line, you know, that it's okay to be
strategic, savvy, sassy.
Sassy.
I love it.
The strategic is what you said, is, you know, understand the men have a different hard drive. We have a different hard drive, but we work really well together when we share and identify what we want, but very clearly, you know, I'd like you to listen, I'd like you to do this, or whatever. And that could be at work and at home. And then he feels more empowered to understand our template. And as we forge into the workplace, we build in emotion and life, but we allow the men to understand our strategic intention. And the savvy bit is being, which I think you are and I am, is that being aware of what's going on in the world, know what market's about, what your intention is. And the sassy is just being your own unique self.
Love that. That's the best part.
Well, it is, but we have to be careful not to be so sassy that the men go, what's going on here? So what you said in your strategy is really important. So let's just look for a minute at different types of women, because in my 30-year experience of studying women and their bodies, what I discovered is there are different types of women. In the same way as we see masculine-minded men and feminine-minded men, we see a masculine-minded woman and a feminine-minded woman who actually are very good together, but sometimes don't understand each other when things go a bit pear-shaped. And I sense about you is your physicality is very balanced. Yes. And what I mean by that is literally our physical, our facial shape, our bone structure comes into the makeup. And I challenge you to think about a room of women.
Okay.
And when you see all the women who stand very straight and very angular, those will be the masculine-minded women.
Okay.
And all the ones who are very soft and stand gently, they are the very feminine-minded women. So the difference between, and I don't know your generation here, but say Jamie Lee Curtis and Meryl Streep.
Okay.
But for you, Shannon, I think I see you're very centered. You have a very oval face shape. It's very balanced. I just get the sense that you're in that middle range. You're not too masculine and not too feminine. You have a lovely balance.
Thank you.
Is that right?
That's very right. And it's fun to be in a place of balance because I can easily go into this side or go into this side depending on who I'm communicating with. So with Greg, he's very action oriented. So I know when I'm talking to him, it's all about the facts and giving him the information quickly.
The bullet points.
Yes. But then when I'm talking with Jeff, it's about painting a picture and having a conversation.
That's right. And it's about putting the feelings in and the emotion in and the hugs. So it's not that Greg's not emotional, he is, but he has that action box that says, give me the bullet points, do it now.
Yeah.
And this is where with women, we've got the very masculine-minded woman who can get frustrated with the very feminine-minded woman sometimes. And one of my goals is that we help women to understand that they're all female and they all bring incredible value to the fusion with men in the entrepreneur world.
Well, and whether you're working with a man or a woman, knowing what somebody's communication style is like is really important. Because if I know that you are a fact-driven person, I know how to communicate with you. And if you're more of a touchy-feely, I can paint the picture. And if someone knows my communication style, then they'll know I'm a little bit of both, depending on if I'm moving quickly or more chill in my style.
And that's my goal. So what I've done, I've designed a map that helps this work. But we will share more of that when we get together, when we meet.
Okay.
But right now, if we have this fusion of women coming into the workplace, they're keen, they're bright, they're talented. There's definitely evidence across the world that when men and women work together, actually it makes the best business.
Yeah.
Because we fuse these very different emotions and logic, intuition and gut feeling with writing dexterity and spatial dexterity. But when men look at all of us women and they get a bit confused, what advice would you give to women then on how to manage themselves and men?
You know, I think it all comes down to setting somebody up to win and managing those expectations. So if we can let somebody know exactly how they can support us, men especially, because they're natural fixers. We were chatting a little bit before about how when sometimes we just want to say something, but we're not looking for an answer. But if a man hears that, his natural instinct is to want to fix it for us. So just right up front, women, if we could just say what it is we need and what we're looking for, then the men in our lives will know exactly how to support us. And then they're going to feel really good about it. And there's this whole thing, especially in relationships, where women say, oh, I shouldn't have to tell him, you know, what I want, what I need. But the opposite is true. If you really want to be supported and have the men in your life feel like they are badasses and they're, you know, conquering the world for you, tell them what you need.
Absolutely. That is awesome.
My mic.
Awesome advice. And I just think it's together, you're going to make magic with Secret Not for Women.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I, for one, I'm looking forward to engaging with that and sharing more ideas on the map. And I think for me, it's very important with young women like yourself is that the future of the world with 30-year-old, 40-year-olds, it's so important to get this right. And you have a really good handle on that so that we can get away from the arguing and the derision that we see, dare I say, in the news. At the core, men and women are designed to bring a fusion of energy together, not just for life, but for everything in the world. So my vision is world harmony, one conversation at a time.
Yeah.
And Shannon, this has been the first of many that we're going to have that will create that ripple. So is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers as we finish this interview? Any one word?
Yes, I would just like to say thank you so much, because for me, it's my mission, and it's so important to me that we all have this understanding that when we can support our men to be really amazing in their lives, and then they can support us to having this strong foundation where we can stand up as strong, confident women, it's that energy together that creates that beautiful harmony that it helps everybody. It's not us versus them. Yeah. But it's this collaboration, this symphony of awesome. So thank you.
I love that. So on this note, this tune, this symphony, I want to thank you very much. And I welcome all our viewers when they watch this to come up with their commentary. Let's get men and women working together in a fusion of absolute magical conversations and amazing creative future. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.